Welcome, foolish mortals. I am your host, your foolish host. So if you like everything Disney and want to come on the occasional little trip with me, then feel free to click that subscribe button, and maybe whilst you're down there, the like as well. In August 1969, Disney opened a home for 999 happy haunts, and today I'm here to tell you about some of them, some of my favourite ghosts within the Haunted Mansion. First, we'll look at the bride within the attic, or the Black Widow bride, or the Beating Heart bride, or otherwise known as Emily Gracie, but now mostly known as Constance Hatchaway. So that's of course within the Haunted Mansion and not the Phantom Manor. Feel free to check out my video on the Phantom Manor and the story behind it if you would like. So of course the bride, or we'll call her Constance, pops up within the Haunted Mansion attraction. So not just in an animatronic form, but also within portraits. But first we're going to think about the animatronic when it comes to Constance Hatchaway. Now, did she murder her husbands? Did she perhaps behead the Hatbox Ghost? Or was he really perhaps part of her schemes? We may never know. The Beating Heart bride, or Constance, initially was an animatronic who was just a black, ominous figure with glowing eyes and a beating heart. So of course that's what she started as, but she had a change. She got cursed by the projection face mapping. Now, I know some of the projection face mapping works really well. For instance, within, the Seven Dwarfs Mine Train. I know that the Frozen ride, maybe not so much. But Constance, she kind of works. I mean, I think her body is really cool for the projection mapping, but her face, I don't know, it looks a little bit like a balloon, and then they've just projected a face onto a big balloon. I don't know, something about the proportions is a little bit off to me. But still, I personally think the original one is a little bit creepier, in my opinion, and therefore I prefer it. But I mean, it is what it is. We've got to move with the technology. Which one do you prefer? Now, we did also mention the Hatbox Ghost, and you know what? He's come to join me today. I mean, it doesn't really work when there's a bright ring light on there, but yes, this is essentially what the Hatbox Ghost does, and when it's darker, it does the effects a lot better. Obviously the Hatbox Ghost is iconic because of his effect, and his effect that didn't work correctly when he was first put into the attraction. So the Hatbox Ghost, as you can see, uses an effect where his face seemingly goes from his face into a hatbox, hence Hatbox Ghost. Then it goes back again onto his head. Now here's where a theory comes along where the Hatbox Ghost was helping Constance behead her husbands and then hide the heads in the various hatboxes. I don't know, that's just a theory. But he was only there at the very, very beginning of when the attraction opened, and the effect didn't work correctly, so they yeeted him out of there. And now he's back. Well, at Disneyland California he's back, and he's due to go to Walt Disney World. I mean, you can see his face at Walt Disney World within the portrait section along the hall, but he's not there as an animatronic yet. Now you might actually recognise his face. His face is very, very similar to one of these dudes, or these dudes. So this dude here is a guy called Ezra. He's the tall one up there. Now you can see that Ezra's face and the Hatbox Ghost's face are actually very, very similar, probably because they use the same face mould. I mean, Disney like to do this thing where they save money and use the same face mould. I mean, I'll get more to that later on. But first off, what happened to the original, the OG Hatbox Ghost that was there on opening day for the Haunted Mansion attraction? What happened to him? We don't know. We don't know what happened to him. Some people claim that parts of the Hatbox Ghost OG was used to make Sam the Eagle, who then in turn became Bear Fox, and now of course I'm not sure what they've done with Bear Fox in preparation for the new version of Splash Mountain for Tiana, where she's going to take up residence there. That is a theory. Technically the Imagineers haven't actually said where he is, or even if they do know where he is, I don't think they actually know where he is, to be honest with you. Of course we did mention Ezra from the Hitchhiking Ghosts, this one, yeah. We haven't yet mentioned his buddies, Gus and Phineas. Not those ones. Yes, Gus and Phineas, and then Ezra in the middle, the tall one. Now the names were not actually official initially, it was more of a cast member type thing and a Disney Park Goer fan thing, go us, who then actually made it official. So they're the ones who named them, we rolled with it, and it went from there, and now I guess it is official, that's their name. So their initial original names was Ezra Dobbins, Gus Gracie, another Gracie, and Professor Phineas Queeg. In 2011, tombstones were added to confirm their names. In 2016, Disney named them Ezra Bean, Professor Phineas Plump, and simply Gus. I mean, he didn't get a second name. Poor dude. So this seemed to start with Disney's Crossy Road, but would be shared with souvenir popcorn fans and host a ghost jars. Now in February 2011, the Hitchhiking Ghosts at Walt Disney World were replaced with CGI animated characters. But this was only temporary. It was okay. It was just whilst they were making way for the new animatronics to come on in. In April of 2011, Disney revealed brand new figures of the Hitchhiking Ghosts with more detail than ever. The old mirror trick the ghosts were known for was replaced with new technology, which is reportedly similar to Xbox Connect. Now, the ghosts actually have the ability to interact with guests and even play pranks on them. Have you had a prank played on you by Hitchhiking Ghosts? And you know what? These are the three that are most commonly used in Disney's promotional items for the Haunted Mansion. You know what, as well, when I went on the Haunted Mansion for the first time in 2002, when they said that a ghost would follow you home, 7-year-old me wasn't very happy with that, so I wasn't besties with these guys initially. I mean, they did kind of follow me home. I mean, they're right there. Now let's talk about the ballroom scene. Now the ballroom scene has got loads of different ghosts, like loads of them. They have this thing, this special effect that you may have heard of called the Pepper's Ghost effect. Now I know you've probably heard about that before, it's probably not new knowledge for you or anything, but like the way that it works, if you were interested, was that they got the animatronics and then they paint them nice, vibrant, bright colours with really big detailing, okay, like thick detailing as though they're overdrawing it. And they actually put them above and below you, and sometimes behind you as well for some certain Pepper's Ghost effects. And they shine a really bright light on them, and they have a nice black background, shine light on them, pane of glass, and then there you go. Bish bash bosh. And did you know the reason why the women are actually leading the men in the ballroom scene is because the Imagineers didn't necessarily initially work out that the men were supposed to be leading the women, and it would be reversed in the Pepper's Ghost effect. Now you know the ghost who's on the chandelier, and his name's actually Pickwick, and that is one of the only named ghosts that came on the OG. He was actually named, he's one of the first ever named ghosts when the Haunted Mansion came about. So that's a fun little bit of trivia for you. And here's another fun bit of trivia for you as well. The Pepper's Ghost illusion within the Haunted Mansion is one of the largest ever Pepper's Ghost illusions to ever be made. And the illusion dates back, way back to 1862, which is the first time it was ever recorded. And you know you can do this very easily at home as well. I mean, if you ever just see a reflection of like yourself on the glass with like a shop window, you're essentially seeing a Pepper's Ghost effect. Now we go into the seance room to Madame Leota. Now I love Madame Leota, I actually do, I think she's super cool. Actually the background of these, the words behind each of these pictures, is actually what Madame Leota is saying in various different Disney parks. So we've got the Phantom Manor one in there as well as the Haunted Mansion one. So Madame Leota has projection face mapping, but a cool version of projection face mapping. And actually the face that is projected and mapped is someone who's actually called Leota Toombs. She's an Imagineer. She was supposed to just be a stand-in, but yeah, she fit it. She did a good job, so they kept her. And because the Imagineer Leota Toombs actually had a soft-spoken voice, she was instead dubbed by Eleanor Audley. Now you'd know her, she's Lady Tremaine and also Maleficent, who I've got on my top here. So you can still hear the OG Leota still talk within the Haunted Mansion attraction. You can ask her to hurry back, Don't forget to bring your death certificate. We've been dying to have you. Or otherwise known as Little Leota, who was more like a wisp rather than an actual like ghost, apparently. So of course within the Haunted Mansion, Madame Leota is actually a medium and her lore is expanded into a shop called Memento Mori. So within Phantom Manor, it's slightly different to the Madame Leota within the Haunted Mansion. A slightly different face, obviously different words. I mean, not just translated, but an entirely different script. But of course, we don't really know if the Phantom Manor is still within the same sort of continuity as the Haunted Mansion, but it's similar, but we've still got Madame Leota, and I quite like Madame Leota, so I'm glad that she's there. In life, she was a medium and a fortune teller who lived in or travelled to the town of Thunder Mesa, and after her death she became a spirit in the infamous Ravenswood Manor. She then summons the spirits to haunt the undead wedding party of Melanie Ravenswood. Now there's a character by Madame Leota who is a raven. The raven sort of follows you around the attraction, Phantom Manor and Haunted Mansion. So he actually pops up 4 times in Magic Kingdom's Haunted Mansion, to be honest with you. Initially he was supposed to host you, before the ghost host became the thing that they decided to go with, because they didn't know if guests would connect with the raven in the same way as the disembodied spirit. Yeah, the raven's pretty cool. I like the raven. I don't know if he's meant to be a ghost, like a dead raven, or possessed, like a demonic raven, or whether he's just a raven. Did you know that the collective word for ravens is an unkindness? Whereas I would have thought that they would have gone with crows. Because I used to think it was a crow, and I used to think it was clever to use a crow, because you know that they're smart. I mean, ravens are smart, but a group, like a collective of crows, is called a murder, and that I think works better than an unkindness within a Haunted Mansion setting. That's just my opinion there. Now I know we're talking about the Haunted Mansion, but we have also spoken about Phantom Manor, because of course Phantom Manor is more of my home Haunted Mansion rather than Haunted Mansion. I can't get to that quite as easily. So I'm going to touch on the Phantom a little bit. So the Phantom used to be absolutely terrifying and creepy and had his face falling apart. Whereas now he's not quite as creepy, but he is still kind of creepy. I mean, I think any child would maybe still be scared of him. He laughs a lot. He's a jolly dude. He laughs a lot. He has a great time. And he's got his hellhound as well, which is creepy. He wasn't there the last time I went to Phantom Manor though. I think he may have gone to the vet. But I personally preferred the older version of the Phantom because he's a lot scarier. But I can understand why they would have toned him down, you know, because technically Disney's are aimed at children. Technically. And of course we all know the welcome foolish mortals. But we don't really get that in Phantom Manor until we get to the Thunder Mesa scene. And then you see the mayor. He tips his head and tells us, welcome foolish mortals. He welcomes us to the fun and, you know, the western jive. And he actually has a recycled face, and I'll show you some of the recycled faces now. So as you can see, face molds are reused and reused and reused all of the time, and it creates a whole new character, which is very exciting. I'd love to see what people do with just my face mold, like different makeup, different hair, see what I could turn into. But those are some of my favourite, I guess, animatronics and characters from within the Haunted Mansion. I didn't touch on everything because I love, of course, the Haunted Mansion and Phantom Manor and the entire vibe so much, as I'm sure you're aware from seeing this channel's name. But do you have a favourite character from the Haunted Mansion? If you do, please let me know down below, and I'll see you next time. Bye!